Well, it looks like the dragon has jumped through the hoops of Saturn, and the monkey, the leper, has ridden the jaguar, and the tiger has eaten the nubile.
Okay. Well, that's not quite how it is. It's actually the dragon will dance through the hoop of Jupiter. The monkey will ride the jaguar, and the tiger will feast on the nubile. Then the order of the universe will be such that the evil will reign for eternity.
Well, I guess evil won in the end because we watched this movie.
Now it's garbage.
Just another movie night.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. We are just another movie night, and I am Scott.
And I'm Joe.
And today we are talking trash.
Talking trash.
Talking trash, indeed. All right, this is our show to review, spoil, debate, to crap on, and give second chances to movies that the internet has hated, the lowest rated films, the much debated, the often forgotten, all while asking the question, is this the worst movie ever made? And if not, what is? And that's what we're doing today on a little movie called Sgt Kabukiman N.Y.P.D. from Troma Films in our long month of discovering the Toxic Avenger series. And we're suffering right now, guys. This might be the bottom of the barrel for our show so far. This entire month we've been hitting rock bottom. And here we are once again.
It's getting progressively worse as we go along, so I'm scared for the future.
Yeah, and the only reason we're doing this movie is because this character ties into the next film.
I cannot. Okay.
Yeah, I can't fathom it.
I
I'm not gonna
can't
lie.
either, but I'm thinking maybe it's going to be one of those things where like they have a team up because they both are like kind of crime fighters and they're both, strange cats. So, they both have some kind of powers.
I think that's what it is going to. I mean, look, we're guessing on the next movie because we don't even care to talk about the movie we're actually talking about today. We're going to be guessing. Joe, let me ask you a question.
Oh, okay.
What year do you think this movie came out?
Okay, well,
what year do you think it was supposed to come out?
from the looks of it and the feel of it, I'm going to say that this movie should have come out around 1987.
Yeah, right? Doesn't this feel like it was made in the mid 80s?
Yeah.
And got released maybe in the late 80s?
Yes, the wardrobe would definitely suggest that it was kind of like 87, 88-ish.
That's what I was thinking too. To find out that it was supposed to come out in 1990 is kind of mind-blowing.
So that's when it came out, 1990?
I mean, that's when it's saying it did. What I hear, or what I read anyways, was that nobody wanted to release this film.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder why. And it sat on a shelf, and the only reason it was released was that Romeo and Juliet kind of got a cult status for them. That was the James Gunn film I think he wrote. And he kind of made a name for Troma again. And so then this film got released because of it. This is so confusing because this movie contains a car crash explosion that is kind of infamous with Troma because the same shot has been reused in 3 movies. And it's become a running joke for them that it's such a great explosion and it's such a great car crash that they just keep reusing it. And so it's become debated where the car crash originated. It's actually this film, but the reason everybody thinks it's from Romeo and Juliet is because it's also in that film, and that film got released first.
Oh,
So, yeah.
okay.
It's kind of a confusing thing. This is such of a mess of a thing, and this is what's crazy about it. And I did not believe this, but you had suggested that this might be a possibility while we did Toxic Avenger 2. In part 2, you said something about because in the movie Toxie goes to Japan, and I guess the twist is that they just out of the blue they get attacked by kabuki men.
Yeah, here's the thing. Okay, first, let me just do. I had to like figure this out because kabuki is a classical form of Japanese theater.
Yeah.
So,
And is it usually female, or is it? Can it be any?
I mean, I think it can be, any sex.
Okay.
But the thing is about seeing them in the Toxic Avenger, I feel like, but they weren't like doing any street performances or anything. They were just bad guys.
Yeah, they jumped out, and Toxie yells out, "Oh, Kabuki men!"
Come on, let's get out of here. Oh no, it's Kabukiman.
Yeah.
And you said, "Oh, it's Sergeant Kabukiman, right?" And I said, "No, I don't think it is." And I didn't realize that this movie came out after that film. And the only reason this film got made is because on the set, I guess the producers or people funding the movie said, "Oh, who's that?" And I guess Lloyd Kaufman, the co-director and writer of these films, basically said, "Oh, that's another project I'm working on right now." And all those people, and he was joking, and all those people were interested, and they actually said, "Oh, I'd be interested in producing that." So the only reason that this movie got made was because of an off-cuff joke on the set of Toxic Avenger 2.
I mean, did he have like Japanese investors? Because this movie had a $1.5 million budget.
This one did?
Yes.
Get the fuck out.
It did. It did. They had to use some special effects, so that's probably where the money went.
I guess so. I mean, how crazy is that? Like, the Toxic Avenger 2 had a $2 million budget?
It was 2.5.
And so someone else went, "Here's another $1 million?"
Yeah. Someone funded this. 1.5 mil.
It just, God, it pisses me off. It really does. Because looking at this movie, I mean, there are moments where you can see some of the budget. There are absolute moments, especially like prosthetics and like special effects. There and that car explosion. There are a couple, and obviously it costs a lot of money to film in locations, I guess. And this suggests that it's filming in Central Park.
It's supposed to be New York.
Yeah, I don't really know.
Some of these scenes don't look like New York, but some of the scenes also could be New York, so I don't know.
And Troma is located in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Right? So
And they're right on the border.
Yeah.
They're neighbors.
I mean, it is possible, but I doubt they would able to get the filming location. But then again, Kaufman, I can't imagine him actually shutting down or getting the rights to film anywhere. Just, I would expect him to guerrilla film it. You know what I mean? Just get out there and just film on the run from the cops.
No, I don't feel like that you could do that. You can't, shoot on the fly, in situations that occur in this movie. Because in this movie, there's a lot of stuff that happens, and you're just like, okay, there's literal people, businessmen, businesswomen walking around out here that probably don't even know, that they're being filmed. But it was literally in New York City. You could tell. I
don't know. I mean, I feel like it was just a storefront, but I do feel like the park scenes could have been. But
I don't know. What's the trivia say? Anything?
Nothing. Really bad trivia on this film. I mean, I'm sure if I dug deep enough, if I cared enough, I would find some more shit. But I'm not going to pick up the boulder and look at the bugs underneath. because I just don't give a shit. So look,
Are you angry?
I'm like I said, this month, I mean, we do this on the show for fun. We watch bad movies on purpose. But, I mean, we have really, really scratching
Yeah.
that itch. And we're really asking that question, and we're getting results. So,
Well, you shouldn't ask the damn question.
we have to ask the damn question. That's why we do this show in the first place. Look, on this show, everybody, we discuss a plot of a movie. Movies that usually we suggest that people probably don't want to see, like I said in the opening, the movies that people either forgot or think is shit, or they just kind of discarded. We kind of want to look at those movies and dissect them. So we're gonna talk out the plot. We're gonna spoil it up, if we can. If we can, because I think that we both glazed over during this one. I think that, and can you agree on this? The opening of this movie made me think, oh, we're back on track.
I did think that.
Because the opening was insane.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, we're back on track. And then the movie just nosedived.
I mean, really quickly, too.
Yeah.
Really quickly it nosedived. So, yeah. But I will say, though, this is another situation where my mouth is hanging open a lot.
Yeah. In both ways. In shock and in disgust.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like, or a boredom.
Or shocking disgust.
I'll take that. I'll take that. Yeah, to get right into the plot, the movie opens in the best way possible. One of just complete brutality that only Troma could do. The movie opens on a real odd section where it doesn't even really make sense. There is a woman doing what we just joked about in the opening.
Venerable ancestors, 1,000 years ago, the evil one was driven from the face of the globe. As we then foretold, there would come a time when evil, corruption, and perversion would rise again, and the evil one would be able to return. That time is now. At the end of Mercury's next journey, the dragon shall dance through the hoop of Jupiter. If at that moment the monkey will ride the jaguar, and the tiger will feast on the nubile, the order of the universe will be such that the evil one will reign supreme for eternity. There is only one being who can confront the evil one. The chosen one is on his way to us now.
Where a woman is talking to her father who is in full kabuki makeup. And she's telling him that evil's going to take over by saying all this crap that you said in the beginning.
Oh, he was the grandfather.
Oh, he's the grandfather?
Yes, he's the grandfather. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
So where's her parents?
They don't establish that.
Grandfather, I grow nervous. The performance has already begun and the chosen one has not yet arrived.
It's her grandfather. She says it a lot.
Okay, so as we get all that, we cut to a random act of violence that I guess the bad guys in this film are taking out I don't know who the hell this guy is. I don't know what's going on here. I guess it's like the opposing, either the mob or something. I don't know what they are, but we just open on two little girls as we're getting that whole thing that evil's going to take over. You see two little girls in like kimonos.
Yes.
They're little two girls, and they're just giggling and laughing. And then we see just a shot of a man in a terrible blonde wig that you buy at like Spirit Halloween. Sorry, I always say of. Spirit Halloween. He's just got it on, and he is playing with a machete. And I didn't know what was going on. I felt like they were watching him because they were giggling. But he's like pointing it toward us in the camera, and I was thinking, oh, he's doing silly stuff, and they're laughing at him. Mm-hmm. No, he stabs them to death. I couldn't believe it. We actually were in shock. We're like, the movie just started like
this?
They
cut away, so we didn't see anything.
You see the blood. He pulls the machete back out, and there's a little bit like off camera.
Yeah, and he's laughing, and he's, got a bloody knife, bloody machete or whatever. But can we just talk again about this wig? Here's the thing. I know that Troma likes to, put their actors in strange get-ups for no reason whatsoever. But I feel like this actor who was playing this bad guy,
Yeah,
he
the
was
character's name. I was gonna say the
struggling.
character's name is Remington, but I think it's like Rembrandt or something like that, right? Am I right?
I mean, I don't even hear that they call his name out,
All right.
but it's like, I feel bad for this actor because not only is he probably wearing one of these, Party City pieces of shit wigs that itch your whole face when you have them on, but it's clearly a long-haired wig that's in his face so much that he's just, and he keeps flipping it, and you could tell the actor's bothered by this hair.
Yeah, and anybody who's ever worn one of these, they know it gets in your mouth. It is
gross.
it's stringy. It is very obnoxious to have
just
on.
like that waxy, disgusting hair that you buy at Party City. It's awful, and I just feel bad for this actor. And it's the first thing you notice, like his hair. It's so white, like it's not even blonde. It's just the wig is white.
It's blonde.
It's like so in your face.
It's like it was like one of those 80 bands, like the 80s metal band,
oh
like the
yeah,
blonde
I
hair
mean
though.
seriously, he
It's
looked
so
like he stepped
intense.
right out of like Rat or
It's like
something.
Lita Ford stuck it right on his head.
You know what? Don't ever insult Lita Ford to me.
Okay, sorry.
But I will say, I feel bad for that actor from minute one. He has to wear this damn thing through the whole entire movie.
Oh, and I guess I should point out what the actor he looks like. We thought we couldn't stop laughing because he looks like Pontius from Jackass.
He does. Okay, so if
It was bothering us the whole movie, and you finally said, "Oh my God, he looks like Pontius."
It was
And I like,
bothering me because
he does, Party Boy.
I thought that at first he was the actor that plays, Garbage Day
Yeah, I
in
wish.
Silent Night, Deadly Night. But like and I was looking at him, I was like, holy shit, that's Pontius. It looks like Pontius. It's crazy. Of course it's not him, but he just had that look. But I don't know if he ever made another movie, this guy, but he's just
I couldn't
terrible.
find anything out. Some of the actors have been in things on sets, but not really anything big.
Yeah, I mean, he was terrible.
Look, we didn't know that he killed the two children until he goes into the next room, which is a couple having sex. And we didn't know what was happening until the guy gets up from the having sex and the guy with the machete runs in and stabs him. And we're like, oh, I think he did kill the children. Mm-hmm. And then the guy's dying. And as this man's dying from the stab wound, he picks up his naked girlfriend or wife or whoever this is, and he starts lifting her up. And now I was laughing because I was like, is he going to throw her out the window? And then I saw it's virtually a poster of New York.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute. That's not supposed to be a window, is it? And yes, it is. Because he chucks her out the window. And we started laughing instantly. We're like, what the movie's starting this amazing?
Yes.
This is like, feels like original Toxic.
It does.
It does
And like, while all this is going on upstairs in this high rise, there's two, like, douchebag, what do you call them?
Yeah, two Wall Street guys
Wall
are talking.
Street guys, and they're literally sitting in front of a convertible, and there's like
No, it's a Mercedes.
it's a
because
Mercedes
he says it
convertible.
wrong.
Yeah, he says it's a Mercedes convertible.
How did he say it though? Do you remember? I don't remember.
And this, my friend, is a Mercedes convertible. And it's all mine.
He says it's
but like,
funny.
and they're doing coke on the car, and
They're talking about insider training, and they're doing coke on the car. In the background, can we talk about the background actors in the scene?
yes,
There is a man with dwarfism walking Scooby-Doo. Did you see that?
yes.
The dog is giant.
Okay,
And he just hands it to the bellhop. And the guy just leaves the dog with him.
Well,
I couldn't stop staring at the background.
see, the funny thing about this is I think that Lloyd Kaufman. This is what I'm finding this out after watching all these movies.
Yeah.
Lloyd Kaufman loves to put stuff in the background to divert your attention from the crap that's going on in the foreground.
I agree.
Because it's so nonsensical. So that he wants to go one notch above and put more nonsensical shit in the background to divert you, and it works.
Yeah,
because I notice everything that's going on back there.
The best thing to say about this film and a lot of these films we've been watching this month is the best way to describe any of these movies is visual noise.
Yes.
That's what it is. It's visual noise on the screen. It is distracting, it's chaotic, and it's out of control, and it is very odd and off-putting sometimes. And that's the movie in a nutshell, and that's that shot like we were just talking about. It gets funnier as we go on. We'll talk about it a little more.
Yeah. Well, this woman's okay, so she gets thrown out of the window, but the best thing is you would imagine that she's going to fall on this, crazy expensive car that this guy is bragging about. No, she doesn't fall. Her body doesn't fall on the car. Her body literally comes off the left screen and just jumps at
All right, so
the guy.
The building is behind these two characters, and he comes Supermaning from another building angle altogether. She comes from the left. It is okay. We're already laughing. We're like, what?
She doesn't fall on top of them. She comes from the left and just goes rah.
Right on this guy, but backwards because she lands ass in his face.
Oh my god,
and
it was
naked.
amazing. It was amazing.
I'm not going to lie. I laughed for this entire sequence. I was like, I am so happy we're back on track.
There's no way to not laugh at the sequence. I was like, okay, but we don't know what happened. Like, why did these people go and kill that family?
I feel like things are said in some scenes here, but we were kind of like, again, focused on dumb shit and just picking out the dumb shit. Like, so the plot, it doesn't matter. Well, I'm just going to say that I'm thinking that this one guy, Rembrandt, I believe, let's call him Lionheart. I don't know. He's got that big blonde hair. Let's just call him that. Lionheart, I think he went on his own and took out this other family, and then he was planning to take out all of the family. I'm not really sure, because when that man that he stabbed in the back before he chucked out his wife, I guess out the window, he prays to a picture of like the Kabuki man that is preparing with his, you said granddaughter?
Yeah.
My grandfather!
That's crazy. Okay.
Yes,
he
she's the
prayed to
granddaughter.
her. He mutters something to him like, "Get revenge," to a black and white picture of him on the bedside.
Yeah, I recall that, but I'm like, okay, wait. Was this guy at one point the Kabuki man? Or no?
I don't
I don't
know.
understand what the reasoning is of, Lionheart going in there and destroying this whole family. Like, they never even bring that up. It's weird.
We find out later on at the end of this movie that the bad guys have an entire plan that ties into the Kabuki beliefs. I don't really understand this because this granddaughter, I can't believe
Her name is Lotus.
They're really, yeah. Okay.
Yes, she's the granddaughter.
How did it feel watching your grandfather being mowed down by machine guns?
There's nothing that says Asian sensitivity like Troma. You know? Yeah, the character's name is Lotus, and this actor playing the grandfather, as you're saying, the actor playing him, he's just muttering. I don't know if any of it's logical. I don't know if it's actually any real things that he's saying or just just garbage. I don't really know. Editor's note, here's a translation of this. To this.
I want to feel the state of mind of cherry blossom viewing. Bodhisattva Shing 12 Hanya Wave Honey Entry Securities Industry Cloud C. Cavity. Absolutely empty. Actor. Carver.
Which is as far as I can get Google Translate to discover. But he is going through an entire ritual that has to do with the oncoming event where the dragon's going to jump through some hula hoops and all this crap. And
Get it right, man.
he eats a mouthful of worms, and we have to get a close-up. And again, we jump to our lead character who is connecting at the same time as this, and we get my favorite piece of shit thing in movies, bad narration.
Yes.
And these movies have a problem with that because the Toxic Avenger 2 and 3 so far have had awful narration. And this movie has another bad one. We're following a bumbling cop that looks like a reject of the guy that was the love interest in Just One of the Guys, and a reject of Jim Carrey.
Oh my God.
It's like the two of them had a baby.
Okay, how dare you speak that way about Clayton Rohner?
Clayton Rohner and Jim Carrey had a child, and this is the guy, and they just threw him in this file. I don't know what the hell. I guess we're supposed to think he's funny. I can't tell. He doesn't really have charisma.
He doesn't really.
He's bumbling. He's supposed to be a detective, which Joe pointed out to me. He is not a sergeant.
Yeah.
And I said, what does that mean? And he said, it's in the damn title. And I was like, shit, you're absolutely right. He's a detective. Why isn't this called Detective Kabukiman?
I mean, they could have. I mean, he could be a detective sergeant. That is something. However, they don't ever reference that
and
to
they
him.
Almost reference that he's a terrible cop that the beat cops make fun of.
Yeah. Like, I'm literally the cliche donut eating fatties that are the cops in all these movies. It seems like they're the ones that are picking on him, but he's the detective and they're just beat cops. It's very shocking. I don't understand that.
They're picking on him because that's how low he is. That's why when you said he's not a sergeant, I was laughing. I'm like, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, no.
He's mocked by his peers.
And on the wiki page, it does say that he's Sergeant Detective Harry Griswold, but they don't ever reference that in the movie.
Unless that's in the opening narration here, and we were just like, well,
No.
I think I was distracted by the fact that he said, my name is Harry Griswold. And I was like, okay, I'm already in for something here.
Griswold is the name. Sergeant Harry Griswold, N.Y.P.D.
Yeah, Harry Griswold, who the writer named after his high school janitor. Yeah, I mean, that tells you how much he cared about this plot.
I mean, oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. Well, he just keeps recycling the same crap over and over again. I mean, so the next, I guess the next scene is he attends an amateur kabuki play.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Harry Griswold's given this narration where he says he keeps mentioning this one girl and how he's supposed to go on a date with her, and he keeps messing up. And then instead he's going to this kabuki theater performance.
Yeah.
And he goes there, and that's the same thing where the granddaughter's talking to her grandfather, and he's doing this entire ritual where he's eating worms. It is nasty. This actor really has worms in his mouth.
Why does he have to do that?
And
they never state why that he has to eat worms.
No, it has something to do with the ritual because it connects to the next moment. But the granddaughter says the hero's coming to beat the oncoming evil, and if you can't find the champion, you should make me the champion.
Right, but yeah, she's the next in line, so she would be like the heir. So she would be like Miss Kabuki Man, Miss Kabuki Woman.
I love that.
Whatever.
Yeah, I like Kabuki Man. Miss Kabuki Man.
Miss Kabuki Man.
It's like Dr. Venture. I mean, the monarch from the Venture Brothers' wife.
Doctor, what is it?
Dr. Girlfriend.
Mrs. Doctor
yeah.
Mrs. Doctor the Monarch or something.
I love it so much.
Oh my god! So she could be that, that person, but no, that's not what happens.
Of course not, because how dare a woman be the badass?
She's so pretty. That
She
girl.
is. She might be the best actor in this. The last 3 movies we've watched might be the best actor in all of them.
I mean,
and
she
I
is.
feel really bad for her. Yeah,
I do too. I really do too. So during this amateur kabuki play, Harry witnessed thugs, I guess.
It turns out some of the actors on stage are actually
they're
the
thugs.
Rembrandt or Lionheart. It is actually Lionheart and his gang of thugs, and this is one of the craziest sequences. Our main guy Harry, he's eating a bag of really loud popcorn or like nuts or something in the audience at a kabuki
They
theater.
look like hot fries.
And that's when the people on stage just randomly start shooting the actors on stage, and this makes the crowd laugh.
Okay, so this is mind-boggling. First of all, this play, I don't know what is supposed to be happening in it, but the entire audience, did Lloyd Kaufman use some kind of stock footage or some kind of stock video from a previous Broadway play where someone watched Death of a Salesman or something? Because all of these people in this theater are about 118 years old. Do you notice that?
I wouldn't say they're that
The theater
old.
patrons are they're all old as dirt.
Well, they're supposed to be people that would go to an opera, right? I mean,
but there's not one young person except for Harry in the entire
that
audience.
makes sense.
I'm like, what are these people doing? And so the thugs, which no one's even asking the question here. You're not asking the question. How did the thugs get cast in this play?
Yeah, I don't know. Did
they kill the original actors?
Yeah,
what happened?
Because we find out that the other actors are actually part of it in the next scene. I don't know.
How do they know their lines?
Yeah, Editor's note: the man who is killed in the beginning, along with his family and his wife, is chucked out the window by Lionheart, is the actor in the play that Lionheart now goes to replace. It doesn't seem to be any lines. One of the kabuki actors is dressed in Mets hat and a cigar.
Yes, and they're playing poker.
They're playing
on stage.
poker, and everybody's just really into it. And then all of a sudden, one actually pops up from under the stage with a machine gun in a tuxedo, and just unloads, and people just love it. They're losing their shit laughing, right? And no one even notices that this is real. They think this is a part of the show, I guess. But even if it was a part of the show, what would it be the funny part?
What in the plot would cause this to be funny?
I mean, the guy, the grandfather, who just did the entire ritual backstage, he's getting riddled with bullets, and people just losing their shit. And it takes the person that told Harry to stop eating so loud, to get shot in the head to make him realize this is real. And he says, I'm a cop. Of course, his badge gets shot comically, and everybody starts screaming and panicking and running out. And this makes him go to the stage and fight off the bad guys. And he saves the granddaughter by jumping on top of her sexually and shooting a guy who's about to shotgun her in the crotch. Which I was still like, okay, they're still doing the crazy violence and all that kind of stuff. So maybe this is something going to be more. But basically this scene just deteriorates as she throws him off because he's basically humming her. And actually, if you look at the shot, he does look like he's grinding a little bit, which is really strange. She throws him off, but he lands right on the grandfather, who makes out with him.
Well, it wasn't okay. He needed to pass his power of a kabuki man.
It went on for too long.
But he quite literally just had worms in his mouth, and that was really gross. And
he passed worms into his mouth.
He passed worms. I think those were real.
Yeah, and
they looked real.
It was real. They were moving.
Some of them were moving.
Yeah, it was gross.
Oh, hell no. This guy must have been paid the most out of everybody, because there's no way you could pay me that. You'd have to pay me a lot of money to put that shit in my mouth.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't think I ever would.
Never going to be worth it.
No.
Yeah. This makes him have makeup on.
Yes, everything transfers over.
Yeah.
So he wears the kimono.
Well, he doesn't yet. I think he slowly gets stuff, but I don't think does he get a kimono? I
Yeah.
thought he got makeup and his hair
Yes, he
spiked
does,
up.
because he makes that stupid joke. Oh no, I'm in a dress.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
That's,
how do you not know what a kimono is,
yeah.
dummy?
No one does in this movie.
I mean, it's so stupid.
He tries to run after the bad guys, but he, for some odd reason, has a like reaction to the powers and just stumbles down the stairs. And
Well, he's a bumbling idiot from the beginning anyway.
yeah, and by the time he gets back, the cops have already shown up, and instead of like investigating around the building to find the bad guys, they're just like now talking to people on stage. So the cops are talking to two of the actors in the play, and they're complete, like they have like accents, like they're from New Jersey. Mm-hmm. And they're like, hey, there was like 7 guys, there was 12 guys. And the other guy's like, oh, I think there was only 5 guys. And we don't want to be involved. You know?
It was like, I don't understand that joke. There was
I don't
so
know.
much stuff in this movie that didn't land, and that was one of the things.
Oh, there's so
Like,
I mean, I would say almost 90% of this
Yeah,
didn't land.
90% of this movie didn't land.
Yeah. It's so odd, but while the chief of police is here and everybody's on stage, and then that is when Harry comes through the wall, dressed in his kimono, in his makeup, with his gun, and says, freeze. Why would he come back in and say freeze when he was chasing the bad guys out the back door?
Yeah, it makes no sense.
It makes no sense, but everybody sees him, they're like, detective? So everybody's like kind of mocking him because for some reason, they keep saying he's in a dress.
But I don't understand. You do realize that you're like in a kabuki play. You're at a kabuki play. That's how they dress. Like everyone's acting like they don't know where they are.
Yeah.
It's like they weren't given any direction at all.
It's all right. Okay, now we got to talk about the main bad guy, who I would say is like Terry Kaiser, who plays Bernie, who had his hair completely white.
Oh my God, I couldn't stop staring at the situation. He had white hair, and his eyebrows were so damn dark. You know, he reminded me of Marty Scorsese. He was little. He was so little too.
If Terry Kaiser was playing Martin Scorsese, yes, that would have been perfect. Yeah, this guy, he's like the main bad guy, and he, I guess some of the cops got some of the bad guys.
Yeah,
and arrested them.
Yeah, they did.
And we cut to the main bad guy's lair, I guess, or their office, and we kind of meet the bad guys a little bit. And this guy's like some kind of high class person. He was at the show, but when the bad guy, he saw that Lionheart was on stage, he kind of took off. Mm-hmm. And he said, why did you go and do what you did? We could have done this the easy way. And he said, it was more fun. I just felt like doing it, like killing everybody on stage. And they bring in Reverend Snipes, right? Reverend Wesley Snipes comes in, I guess. And
is his name Wesley Snipes?
No, but his name is Reverend Snipes.
Stop.
And I just felt like this movie's so like completely insensitive in every way possible that it just, I mean, when they show the chief of police, they playing rap music really, really lightly in the background. It is very strange and off-putting. It's odd.
Okay, I can't
Also,
tell you
the
how many.
homophobia
Yes,
in these
they
movies.
use the F word
Holy
to describe,
crap.
Gay people. I mean, it's
Which is
just
really weird because you think that he would be the most open. These would be the most open and like welcoming people, the Troma gang.
I mean,
instead
yeah.
they seem very homophobic and very. I don't really know. It's a very odd thing.
But, like, I mean,
it is strange that they go after it and they constantly do that.
Yeah, and it's like those kind of people that he hangs out with are always the ones that are so nice and kind and like, they're cool. But I mean, he just to use that kind of, I guess, it's just so degrading to hear that.
Yeah.
It's like offensive to hear him use those kind of words in his movies. It doesn't make any sense, and this is not the first time.
Yeah. Oh no, all the Toxie films, like constantly, a lot of like cross-dresser jokes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
A lot of like that. It's weird,
Which
and I can
is
see some people being
strange.
very offended by it.
I
but
mean, yeah, I mean,
the whole movies are supposed to be offensive. though.
I get that, but like he puts his male actors in dresses all the time and acts like it's normal. So it doesn't make any sense to use those offensive words, And like I said, he just like embraces everybody.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I don't get it.
this scene with the villain's like lair or his office building or whatever kind of get like introduces some of the characters, and like I said, this Reverend Snipes guy, I guess he's the big like evangelist, the big church guy in town, and he works for him and he helps him get whatever they want to push in the narrative in the media and stuff like that. And he's like on his side, and you think that he's going to kill him because he wants him to do a certain thing for them, and instead he like reaches in and gets something else. It's a really weird scene, but you're kind of introduced to each one of these things. Now this is one of the, again, we're paying more attention to his desk and the pictures that are on his desk. That's like a running thing. We kept like, look at this guy's background, look at this thing, look at this odd thing in here. And that's how this scene was. A lot of the time, I couldn't care less about what everybody was saying because I was laughing about the bad set direction. Or the decorations.
The set design is like, I mean, in any of Lloyd Kaufman's movies, there's always some weird shit that you're always looking at in the background. Yeah. This happened when there's a storefront that said, "Your pants come off here."
Yeah, take your pants
down or something. It was a dry cleaner. And it was just funny things like that.
Yeah, it constantly makes your eyes go to something else, or you lose complete like attention. Well, this scene made me laugh because I thought we were getting introduced to a bad guy we were going to get a lot of. His name is Skipper, I believe.
You're better than me because I don't remember.
This guy walks in, Skipper, and he is acting at 11, and we were laughing our asses off. He comes in the room and he's like, "Why did you leave me down there at the police station? You were supposed to get me. Why the hell is this all happening?" And whatever. It's just going on and on and on.
Uncle Reggie, sorry for barging in, but we gotta talk.
Excuse me, Reverend, this will only take a second. What is it, Skipper?
I thought we had an agreement here. I thought we had a relationship. I was gonna take the rap for that shit at the theater. You were gonna get me off and make me a vice president with a corner office. No jail, no conviction, nothing. Just a couple of mug shots and a statement, and that's it. That was our understanding. But I just spent the past 4 hours down in the can with some real criminals waiting for your guy to come bail me the hell out. Do you know what it's like to be violated by a 300-pound Filipino skinhead named Gunther? It ain't no picnic.
Aw, Skipper, calm down, boy.
And we thought he was really funny, and I was like, "Oh, I can't wait to hear more of this guy in this movie." But the main bad guy just shoots him in the head.
Yeah.
And I guess that's supposed to be like a warning or showing you that this guy doesn't care. I think he's like related to him too. And I guess that's a setup, this bad guy. But like I said, it doesn't seem to connect at all. It's just like you got your bad guys. This main rich guy, he's always got a lackey. They always have a lackey. It's like a woman who seems like a crazy, unhinged woman. That's like their love interest.
It's been in the last couple movies that we've seen. Same thing.
Then there's that one main thug that's like a lunatic. Every one of these films has the same kind of thing.
It's the same exact formula every time.
So back at the police station. Now this is probably one of the scenes that we loved the most because, again, the background was just insane. They're mocking police stations in movies and TV shows where there's just tons of criminals being like pushed around the room. And so you just have a bunch of people waving their arms and just walking back and forth and just doing insane things, and they're in virtually just a tiny little room.
It's a tiny room. There's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
They clean off this one tiny little patch of area for our guy Harry to come in and speak to his love interest.
The foreground, foreground is just the desk, and that's when we're introduced to a female character, who is the girl that he keeps mentioning he wanted to go on a date with.
Oh, he says it 900 times. Connie LaRosa.
Yes, Connie LaRosa.
I had no idea what I was getting into. What I did know was that I had missed another date with Connie LaRosa.
And Connie LaRosa, she is a cop working a desk in a full dress.
Okay, she's also... okay, yeah, she's a cop. Did they establish that she's a detective, like a plainclothes detective?
Well, they said that she was working a case later on.
Yeah.
That she was trying to make her name for herself. I didn't really understand if
I
she
think
already
she
was.
trying to make sergeant.
Okay.
And but she's literally just wearing a dress. So, I mean, I guess if you're a detective, you're not a beat cop, so you're not in uniform and you don't have to, do what they do. But it's just strange how she was dressed. It was kind of sexy, actually. She was wearing this, like, tight top.
Oh, it's tight, yeah.
Yeah, like, she kind of looks sexy, but...
They kind of reference, like, going, meet me for, like, a run. I wear spandex shorts, and he's like, ooh, I'm going to go with that, you know?
Yeah, they were supposed to have a date, but then she's all like, oh, I'm going to go for a run after work. And he's like, no, I don't run.
Yeah. And then she's like, oh, I wear this outfit.
And they were in his new spandex shorts, and he's like,
yeah, oh, I'm coming. But the chief of police wants to talk to Harry, and he wants to yell at him. And again, the chief of police desk, he's got a prom photo on his desk that's giant. It's like one of those 8x11s. It's on the desk.
Can I just make a comment about this photo after looking at it for at least 3 minutes? I can tell you with utmost certainty that photo probably was taken in about 1985 by the way that they were dressed in the photo. Okay?
I agree.
And the backdrop. There is no way that this man was in high school in 1985 when this photo had to be taken.
True.
This guy literally went to high school in the freaking 50s.
Yeah.
What is going on in this photo? I can only just maybe speculate that was his son or daughter in the picture.
It could be. What I love, it's facing anybody who comes in the room.
Right. It's not facing him, so
Yeah.
he doesn't look at it. It's facing outward, and we had to stare at it, and that's why I was staring at it, because I was like, I am one of those people that have to analyze every single thing in the shot.
Exactly.
So,
Me too. I love
I
it.
can't help it. Like,
it's almost better than the movie itself when you can do that.
It's true. And so it's like that Teen Wolf moment where the guy's zippers open.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of the movie.
Yeah. Or Back to the Future 3 when the kid's pointing on his penis. Yeah, it's really odd.
Like, the poor kid had to go to the bathroom.
We don't know. We're speculating. Yeah.
Jesus. But yeah, so it was just, I always analyze everything in the background. And this office was so over the top ridiculous. It was like they just went to a thrift store and just threw a bunch of shit in the room.
Yeah, it's just the comical office. But like I said, they're playing a low level of rap or whatever on it with a low. I again bringing back a past episode with Toe Jam and Earl music from the Sega Genesis game. That's what it sounded like in the background. I was like, guys, come on, man. I know you're trying to go for offensive as a joke, but Jesus Christ, like back off a little bit.
I gotta say, though, I will say one thing about this film is that I thought that, because they've been offensive, towards different nationalities and different groups of people before, I thought for sure that, without knowing anything about this movie, I thought they were going to have an American man do a comical, like, Japanese
I did too.
accent.
I'm very glad they did it.
And oh my God, I was like, thank God.
Yeah,
thank
I
God.
thought it was going to go like Christopher Lee doing a Fu Manchu or
yeah,
something.
I was like, thank God you didn't do that, because they were offensive enough with all the gay jokes and stuff. But like, I feel like that was something that it spared me. It actually made me sit through the movie, because I was like, if they do this, I don't know if I'll make it through. And I barely made it through, as it is. But
he's basically in trouble. They're like, hey, you can't wear dresses and you can't do all this stuff like that you're doing. And he's like, well, I think I'm on to something. I saw these bad guys, and I know that there was more bad guys than the one that you arrested. And I know that he's like, I know there was other people in charge. I saw this guy. And he's basically like, we had the guy, you can you don't have to worry about it. That case is closed. So the murder of this man, and by the way, the news reporters really love asking the daughter stuff. What was it, the granddaughter? While she's mourning the dead body of her grandfather, they're sticking the mic in her. So while you're watching the blood go down his mouth, how did you feel during that moment when you saw when the bullets entered his body? How did you feel?
Trying time for you. But what did you think when you saw rivulets of blood flowing down his beautiful kabuki costume?
Like, what's even more comical about that is, like, I know that this is, like, reaching, because this is a really stupid movie, but this is reaching, but, like, honestly, this is an active crime scene.
Yes. Oh, and the cops are, the news reporters are right in her face.
The news reporters, like, walking all over the stage, over the bodies, and...
I know it's a joke, but...
It's so stupid. I'm like, oh god, it's so stupid.
It's like the joke doesn't even land because you're kind of like in shock after just watching people were riddled by bullets.
Yeah.
It's just like, what? Okay, now it's supposed to be funny. I don't know how I'm supposed to feel ever. Well, I guess the chief of police is telling him that the case is closed and to move on. And it's not setting well with him. But at the same time, his shoes start melting. And it turns out that he slowly, like the Incredible Hulk, or in our past episode of Super Inframan, where he is actually Kabuki Man. This person, this superhero, is inside of him and it can just come out. So it's not like his skin is changing or he's turning into the werewolf. He is turning into a Japanese...
I mean,
he's turning into a kabuki warrior, or I don't even know how to explain it.
I mean, they do it so in like a ridiculous way because he only halfway turns into Kabuki Man. Like his shoes melt off and become sandals. And then his pants are gone and he has like just the bottom half of a kimono on. So it's like a floral kimono on. And then he has like a suit jacket on and like his regular clothes on the top.
Yeah.
So when he stands up and goes outside of the police chief's office, everyone is stopped. Now we're talking about like at least 40, 50 people in this shot.
Yeah, they had everybody all turn and looking at him.
Stopped, like comically stopped and staring at him. And they're all like bent down, like they're staring at his
It's almost
penis.
like looking through the door hole. Like
yeah, like a
peephole.
Yeah. It's so weird. I was like, okay.
But this is...
I got nothing.
This movie, I didn't actually understand what happened here. I had to ask you to explain it to me. Because the next shot was of a woman standing in a doorway with like completely in shadow, but with some like smoke coming through the door. Like she was sexy. So I thought all these people were looking at her.
Yeah, no. So they were staring at him, but he was told by the chief of police that, you know, the granddaughter is in the interrogation room waiting to see him.
Oh, I didn't even... Okay.
Yes, and so then when he steps out, he's like got half a, you know, Kabuki Man outfit on, and they're like staring at him. So when he goes into the interrogation room to see the granddaughter, she's standing... It's like one of those Richard Marx videos from 1983.
Yeah, exactly.
Where like, you know, that... Like, the girl's just standing and the light's just hitting her face. It was too sexy to be in this movie or in this scene at all.
But you can understand my confusion since the scene cut from him coming out of the room with his chief of police and having everybody staring into the camera. And the next shot is a woman standing in a doorway. And here's what's odd about it.
Well, that's just bad directing. He put the camera at crotch level, so it looked like all those people were staring at his penis.
Oh, okay.
It's what they were all bent. They were like all bent over.
Oh, I see. But still, how did he get past her in the doorway? No, because wasn't she already waiting in that room?
She was in the room. She was in the interrogation room.
But she wasn't. She was in the doorway, and he was sitting.
I got nothing.
Yeah, because you said this is supposed to be an interrogation room, and I said, is that what's happening?
Yes, because you turn on the freaking light. She was standing there in the dark. Like, what is going on here?
She was standing in the doorway.
It was in the window. She was standing in the window.
What do you mean standing in a window?
She was standing in the window.
How do you stand in a window?
She was standing at the window, and she was looking out the window, and he walked in the door, and it was dark, and all you could see was her silhouette with the nighttime lights coming through the window.
The interrogation room has a window?
Yes, it does. That's what's so ridiculous about this.
Oh my God. See, I honestly had
it looked like a door. She was not standing.
Interpretation of what was going on in this
because she was not standing at a door, even though it looked like a door. She was standing at the window, and she was looking out. And he comes in half dressed as Kabukiman, and she's like, "Let me explain something to you. It was my grandfather. He passed the Kabukiman into you." And he's just like, "Okay."
Yeah, there's like a. She actually explains the entire thing we did in the opening about the planets and the dragon.
Can I say it again?
Sure, go for it.
I appreciate this very much.
I like pretending that I know what everything was said.
Well, I mean, also it still doesn't make any friggin' sense at all. Like none.
It's supposed to be funny.
It says, "Pretty soon the dragon will dance through the hoop of Jupiter. The monkey will ride the jaguar, and the tiger will feast on the nubile. Then the order of the universe will be such that the evil will reign for eternity." I don't even understand that.
Yeah, and his response is, "Wow, and I thought I had a lot of things going on." Something like that. And I think you took a really funny freeze frame of this moment because we paused it. We're like, what did she do? What is the thing that's happening? And you were like, I have to remember all this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the freeze frame you got, and I think you put it online, is perfect because it's his first reaction to hearing that nonsense.
It's exactly how I felt at the moment.
So this is their like, oh wow, this is their setup together. Obviously we're gonna get to the point where these two hook up. I mean, it's very, very, very typical.
It's formulaic.
Any detective movie you've ever watched, where the detective goes through the paces, helps the granddaughter or the daughter, and they hook up, and then they beat the bad guys. That is the fucking movie. I mean, like in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens. But the way that happens first is like they can't hook up because, of course, they don't like each other yet. And he also likes another woman who's working on the case.
Connie LaRosa.
And Connie LaRosa and him go running, and he can't run with her, and he's in a full suit with running shoes. And she's in her complete spandex outfit, and she goes to kiss him, and he goes to kiss her, but she leaves him hanging, and she goes running again. And he sits down on the bench because he can't do anything, and we get narration that says, if I would have been a better detective, I would have known that she was working on the case and they might come for her. And so that's what happens. We get to see that all the villains show up, and that's where you're talking about the guy who looks like a cross between Guile and Zangief from Street Fighter. He's this giant muscular guy with like blonde hair.
Yeah, he looks like Johnny Lawrence from Karate Kid, but on steroids.
On steroids. He is huge, and there's a giant bunch of just a gang of bad guys in Central Park are terrorizing this woman.
But in broad daylight, where people are sitting having picnics. Now, we know that he definitely had permission to shoot here because all of these people are in on what's going on. It seems like everyone...
Well, I'm guessing they peppered in people that he was friends with.
Well, they had to because...
And then other people were just being, like, shocked. They would just get off camera. There's a lot of... If you watch these movies, there's a lot of people in the background have no clue what's happening.
I see, that's the thing. That is a staple with, like, the Toxic Avenger and stuff. But with this, I feel like, okay, they seriously had to rope off an area because they made this woman... They grabbed her. This is the cop, Connie LaRosa. They, like... grabbed her, all like 6 or 7 of these goons, and they tore her shirt and her breasts are hanging out and stuff. Like, you have to have some kind of, like, you can't just do that in the Central Park. I mean, the police would come and there's like people that would be freaked out, genuinely freaked out, or trying to help this woman. Like, that was definitely had to be like cordoned off for this scene. And I mean, they rape her.
I don't believe for a million. I don't believe at all that they ever had to pay off a place or rope it off. I think that probably they just waited to a certain time of day and they just surrounded the scene and just filmed it.
I feel like that's...
And then someone told other people around, like, we're filming a movie.
I don't know. I mean, there's a rape scene.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not really. It's just that the top is ripped off and she's screaming.
Yeah, but they're raping her. They actually said she got raped.
No, I know, but I'm saying it doesn't look... We're not seeing the thing. The rape is what I'm saying. We're seeing the outfit torn. We're not seeing sex. You know what I mean? That's why it makes me go, oh, they didn't have to rope it off. But again, this is Troma, so they probably just did it right on the fly and there's no second take. They're just doing it in 5 seconds.
We don't even know if that's really Central Park. It could just be a park behind Lloyd Kaufman's house.
Oh, I'm guessing. Yeah, honestly, it could have and they could have waited for like a school day where there was no one out. You know what I mean? And just did it, Yeah, that's what's happening. And he finally hears the screams and finally gets off his ass and goes. And by the way, he found a chili dog or something. He's eating like a chili dog while this is happening. Like, he was like winded. For some reason, he found a bench and like a vendor and got some food in the park. It's so funny. It's like, just where the hell did that come from? Well, he runs after the screams and he gets jumped by the bad guys as well. And they leave, Connie up on the thing. I guess they had brought her up to the spot, and then they just left her because they all come and attack him, and they're beating him. And this is where we get our first full transformation. Our main hero, Harry, turns into Sgt Kabukiman. And this is where the money is, because we get an actual transformation where he... like, an entire blow-up thing happens around him, and he gets inside of it like a cocoon.
His clothes, like, transform into, like, a big balloon, and he goes inside the big balloon where he literally completes his transformation.
Yeah, we watch every little thing, like his hair changes, his makeup starts coming. There's like little... I mean, there's some money here. There's a little bit of an effort to try to make this look fun.
I actually like the way he looks. I mean, the hair just looks like a plastic piece of something that they put on there. It doesn't look like real hair. But, I mean, I'm sure that would have been too hard to do. But, yeah, it's just like a plastic piece of, like a headpiece that he puts on. But I do like the way he looks. He's wearing, like, this, like, striped outfit, like striped cape and everything. I think he looks cool.
Yeah, it's not so bad, especially since earlier in the movie you're like, oh, this is gonna look like shit. It actually is kind of fun looking, and it could be so much more fun than it turns out to be. When he starts beating up the bad guys, this should be the moment, like in the first Toxic Avenger, where Taki's just like ripping people up, and it could have been like so much fun.
Yeah.
Here, it's just, again, the problem that what Toxic 2 and 3 had, where it feels like a kid wrote all the jokes. Because they're like, oh, what will he do? His sandals come flying from that bench. For some reason, his sandals were at the bench. I don't know why.
Because he had to change into his running shoes, remember?
And he had sandals before that, I guess. Yeah. All right, so they go flying in and they hit people, and he's got a fan and he blows people into a tree, and then suddenly he has chopsticks that shoot into a guy that's filmed in reverse, and it just looks terrible. And he actually does kill one dude by stomping his head into the ground.
Yeah, that was kind of Toxie-ish. That's something that he would do.
He kept stomping his head, and I was like, oh, he's actually killing this guy, because the other guys kind of got off, like, okay.
Yeah, they got arrested.
Because 2 guys got blown into a tree. It's like, that's a far step from smashing a guy's head in.
Yeah, they got arrested, though.
Yeah, well, like I said, the people all got arrested, and they all got, like, locked up, and he goes to see if Connie's okay, and the cops don't recognize him, of course, but he pulls out the badge, and they're like, oh my god, Griswold? Seriously? Yeah, and all the people that saw this happening are calling him a hero. Like, all the other people that are watching this, they stood by while a woman was being raped.
Yeah.
They now are calling him a hero that he came in and did that, and he's the hero that New York needs, is what they say.
Yeah. Oh,
God. And he's got, by the way,
really.
He's like the old Superman where powers just keep coming out of him. He can fly. He can jump distances. He can make weapons appear. He has a sword that comes out of nowhere at one point.
Yep.
So it's like random with no apparent weakness beyond his stupidity. right? And so it's so
beyond his bumblingness.
Yeah, that's his he is his obstacle. He's got to get over himself. Well, Connie's put into the hospital, and because everybody's incompetent in this film, she is left alone in the hospital, and the bad guys are just like, well, we gotta get rid of her. And he's like, I'm already on it. The guy, this Lionheart dude, he dresses up like a doctor with his full wig still on. And he dresses like a doctor, and instead of killing her in the hospital room, he just prescribes her more morphine. And the nurse comes in and goes, oh, okay, that seems like an unreasonable amount, but sure.
She's like, okay, you gotta trust the doctor.
Yeah, you always gotta trust the doctor. And she gives her a horse needle, like something that Herbert West would have on his table and reanimate her.
Oh my god, I was thinking that the whole time too. I was like, oh my god, this is like Herbert West level stuff.
It's supposed to be funny. She's on a respirator, but she's wide awake to witness this.
Yeah.
Connie, and she's dead.
Yep.
So Connie's out of the picture, and the chief of police still doesn't understand. And to make things worse, Reverend Snipes goes on the television and it says that people like this Kabuki man are the problem, and that these poor innocent people that were locked up were actually saints.
Yeah, all the thugs that raped her and beat her, and killed her. They're the ones that are the saints.
It's not them. They actually were set up.
I was like, oh god. So this guy, obviously, he's being put, probably in a chokehold by this big, I don't know, what do you call him, crime lord?
Whatever.
Not Marty Scorsese. Not Terry Kaiser.
Not Bernie.
He's so little.
Yeah, and you know what's really weird is that he doesn't like that he does this, the Reverend, on television, because he kicks his TV, the main bad guy kicks the TV because the Reverend is doing what he's doing. But I was like, he's helping.
I think he was pissed off because the Reverend was kind of showboating it.
I guess so.
Don't showboat. You don't have to, state to the world that you're helping the bad guys, because pretty much everybody is onto his operation, and he's, he does crimes.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, don't draw attention to me, but be on my side.
Yeah.
And so, when the collection plate comes along at church, everyone's giving Rolexes.
Yeah, their jewelry.
And jewelry, and they have this operation going on in the back where the Reverend's skimming from the collection plate.
So stupid.
It's so stupid.
It's like, I've seen this joke 1,000 times, and this is the worst I've ever seen it. It just is not even funny. It's just oh, okay.
It's not. And
that joke.
And they keep doing the same thing every time. It's like in Toxic Avengers, same thing every time. We're 3 movies in now, and it's always the shot of the person, the villain, speaking to the public, which is our dumbasses, and he's always surrounded by a whole trove of villains with him.
Yeah, there's always a shitload of people behind him.
There's always some shit going on in the background, like I said, to distract you from any plot.
Big time.
And you can't help it because it happens in the police station so many times where people are doing synchronized dancing in the background and just stupid crap. Somebody was rubbing their butt cheeks against the glass of the police detective's office, and stupid crap like that. It's just, there's just so much distraction in this movie. I know the movie itself is just one huge distraction, but it's one of those things where you'd rather literally be doing anything else.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, I mean, to try to get through the plot more to get this wrapped up.
There's more plot.
Plot is loose. Things just kind of occur. I mean, Harry's got to be taught the ways of learning how to become Sgt Kabukiman and use his powers properly, and so he's tortured by the granddaughter. What's her name again?
Lotus.
Lotus.
But I have some good news for you. They caught the guy who killed your grandfather.
You fool! They do not have the one responsible for my grandfather's death.
Why do you say that?
Because my grandfather was not killed by a man. His death was orchestrated by the spirit of the evil one.
Evil spirits? Come on now, you're a full-grown woman, all right? You just talk to me in normal English.
At the end of Mercury's next journey, the dragon shall dance through the hoop of Jupiter. If at that moment the monkey will ride the jaguar and the tiger will feast on the nubile, the order of the universe will be such that the evil one will reign supreme for eternity. Now, do I make myself perfectly clear?
Oh, yeah. Fine.
She kind of tortures him by like smacking his crotch with a bamboo stick and making him count rice, and it's supposed to be funny and whatever. It turns out it doesn't work though. He doesn't really connect with it until she says, "Well, I guess it's time to use American style." So she starts punching him in the face and the crotch, and then he actually starts punching her, and they have a fist fight until she finally beats him, and then that's when it makes him go, "All right, I'll take this seriously." And you know what else really works? When you beat the shit out of a woman, it usually makes love come out of everybody. And of course, these two fall in love from this scene.
I mean, do they though?
Yeah, because
it's
we
not.
get a montage of him becoming a hero, and then she's starting to be like into it. And then he actually uses his powers wisely, and he's able to do all this stuff. And I think he goes and flies the Reverend up into the air and hangs him over the Empire State Building. It's so bad. He's on the rooftop of another building, and so you can see the city in the background. It looks like he's high up, but he's not that high up.
He said, "I'm gonna drop you on the needle and give you a nice strong enema or something like that."
Yeah, and you can see that he's just on wires on the top of another building somewhere. And he's like hanging him, and he makes him say everything on tape about the bad guys and what they're doing, what their plans are. And he tells Lotus, and he says, "I got it all on tape right here on this cassette." And this makes them want to have sex. And they do. And it's really odd and off-putting in a movie that's not taking itself seriously, has a sex scene where these two are just going at it. Like, I mean, they're making out full tongue all over each other. It's crazy. It feels really strange.
Like, I just don't know how much she was paid for this movie, but that's not enough.
Yeah.
It's not enough. Whatever you were paid
to get her naked, to get all that to happen, it feels very strange. And it ends in a joke where they wrap themselves up in what looks like a sushi roll. And they just like are like exploding underneath. I don't know what's going on. And then all of a sudden he turns into himself again, and he jumps out and goes, "Okay, I'm gonna go jump out the window now and fly the tape to the cops." And she's like, "Oh, great.
Okay, I'll just take a nap."
But the bad guys have now figured out that oh, and by the way, Lotus has a monkey. Now I should talk about this because
oh my God.
We haven't talked about this enough. I love monkey on film.
Okay, first of all, his name is Toyota. And he is a creep, okay? He's a creep.
I have a thing in what kind of, this is a baboon.
It is. It's the one that Shakma is.
Yeah, it's not Shakma. And anybody who hasn't seen Shakma out there, there's a killer monkey movie where a baboon is on the loose in a building and is trying to kill people playing a D&D game. And it is crazy. I would suggest anybody please watch the trailer for this film. And it has the funniest, where they just keep going Shakma, and they keep showing the baboon going nuts.
The baboon changed me.
Insane.
Those animals have changed me now because of these movies. Every time I go to a zoo and I see that particular breed of like baboon or whatever,
yeah.
I don't like it.
Oh, they're scary.
They scare me now.
Oh, they're terrifying. Like, you just know that they're going to destroy you if they want to.
Yeah, they have that that low brow, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And they just look pissed. Like, it's like they constantly just have like resting angry face, and it's just so, it's off-putting. And now because of that movie Shakma, I just don't like looking at them. I won't do it.
Well, I love it, and I can't get enough. I don't know why I'm obsessed with these movies. They make me laugh. Every movie, like any giant killer King Kong type movies, anything. I love it. I'll watch anything. A gorilla gets loose in a city, I'm gonna watch it. It's gonna make me giggle. I don't know what it is about it, but I was very excited here to get a little guy dressed up
He is so cute, though.
And-
he was wearing a kimono. And the reason I say he's cute in this is because he didn't really have angry face too much, but also the fact that we weren't able to see his red hiney.
Yeah, that weird orange butt.
We don't like the red hiney.
It looks like a swollen ass. Is just really nasty looking.
It's gross to look at. I feel bad. I'm not putting down the animals or anything, but he was covered up, thank God.
I
Because
just love that we're talking about this.
red hiney has to, that's just something that my eyeballs don't enjoy.
How have we gotten this many episodes in and have never talked about my weird obsession with these movies, where these
Okay.
all these different primates show up and
You have an obsession with
I just do.
apes.
I don't know what it is.
Monkeys and stuff. And you know what's funny though? It's like every time we like ever gone to a zoo, you don't give a shit about going to see the monkeys.
It's not that. It's the movie versions of like the wild, crazy movie versions of them.
They're
I
always
don't
like
know.
murderers and stuff.
Well, there's even if it's like just a person in a suit, like Congo, which is did we talk about it on an episode? We might have.
We did.
So in that episode, Congo,
yes.
we did. I might have talked about it a little bit, how I just kind of like these movies. And I don't know why we haven't dedicated a month to them, because I actually thought I saw them all, but I haven't.
Can't
I
be
keep
that
finding
many.
more.
No.
I keep finding more.
Because we do bad movie night, and our friend Erin, she also loves the monkey movies too. So Scott and Erin love going against each other because they pick monkey movies.
We always pick monkey movies as a joke to piss everybody else off on the
And
group.
I feel like we have seen them all. I mean, we've seen Dunstan Checks In, Mighty Joe Young. We've seen...
Oh, those are easy. Yeah,
You know.
no, those are nut ones. But
No, but we've seen the crazy ones too. We've
Let's-
seen them all.
let's get back to this movie, unfortunately. And the only reason I brought up Toyota
Toyota.
is that he's like set up. Well, the villains realize to take over, they need to go and kidnap the girl, because Sgt Kabukiman's the only thing he seems to care about is the girl, Lotus. So they're like, oh, let's go get her. And this is one of those movies that fits that cliche that you always talk about, where the villain has an obsession with dressing the woman up.
Okay, all right. Here, I was gonna bring this up too. So she was naked in the bed when he left because
Yeah.
they were just, having sex. And so all of a sudden, when they go and they kidnap her, they put her in this white, like bodysuit, like negligee sheer thing. It's not really super duper revealing. It's okay.
But did you notice what I noticed?
What'd you
It is
notice?
freezing out, and I felt bad about it because everybody's breath, and they're right on the waterfront in
Yeah,
the scenes.
she's naked.
I felt bad for her the whole time. I couldn't stop watching
Yeah.
her. I was like, someone put a jacket on her.
She's
Please
way
put a
too
jacket
naked,
on her.
way too naked for this scene. I mean, there's no reason for her to have that outfit on. But
Yeah.
she's very attractive. She's really pretty. But they needed her because she's part of the whole.
Yeah, I didn't want to get into it. I just wanted to say real quick is that when Griswold comes home and gets back with her, when he goes back into the bed, it's not her, it's Lionheart, and they have a fight in the bed, the sex
Yes.
bed, which is gross. And he rips off Lionheart's wig and finally admits that it is actually a wig, and underneath is what I would say is just a man's hair with bows in it.
Okay, he has like many, I would say several little tiny like pigtails in his hair. It's weird, but he has like little pink ponytail holders and stuff in his hair. It's not something that
Like
you
a
would
cartoon
expect
character. Yeah.
to be happening under that wig. And why would you hide your hair under that ridiculousness? That wig was so gross. It looked like it's been recycled from every other Troma movie.
Yeah.
It was just gross.
And,
Well, he's probably relieved he could take it off.
and does Sergeant Kabukiman kill him here? The Lionheart? I want to say yes, right?
I think he shoots him. Doesn't he?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they have a big fight or whatever, and he ends up shooting him in the head while reading him his rights. He just shoots him in the head, and he slowly dies.
Yeah.
He goes to the docks. It turns out that they even kidnapped Lotus. Lotus, when they kidnapped Lotus, I mean, they even kidnapped her pet, or Toyota, because he's there with him. I don't really understand this. But this, what you were about to say, is that this is where we get the reveal that the villains they're the great evil, apparently. And they're trying to get the prophecy to happen. So they actually have they brought a leopard and a tiger.
So they have,
And they
it's a jaguar. It's a jaguar.
Oh, it's a jaguar. And then they also couldn't find a monkey, so they brought a lemur to ride the jaguar.
But there's like, I mean, you could literally go to any zoo or whatever and just kidnap a monkey.
Yeah, and they said they didn't. I guess they didn't know that Toyota was there, or Toyota just got there. It's really, really strange. But
he was wearing a chauffeur's hat.
Yeah. Yes, and
and he knows how to drive a car.
And he actually grabs a gun at one point too. Griswold comes and goes to free, fights all the bad guys, of course, and tries to free Lotus, but he can't turn in. I guess he's like, his weakness is her, and so he needs her to be okay. So she actually has to like kiss him to make him turn into Kabukiman. And while this is happening, it turns out that they want the prophecy to the dragon is the actual stars, and then the hoop is the stars, and the two merge. The stars that form the dragon go through the hoop, and the main villain wants this to happen because he's waiting for the prophecy so he can become the great evil. Okay, that's really out of nowhere.
It's
really,
the stupidest plot.
And they're like, set the tiger loose because he has to kill the nubile.
And nubile is actually,
it turns out his
Lotus.
girlfriend. Well, they wanted it to be Lotus.
They wanted it to be Lotus.
They're like, the girlfriend screaming, and the tiger jumps on this actress.
So the bad guy's girlfriend, who is one of the crazy women that we were talking about in the beginning, where like he always has like one of these crazy girls just screaming and carrying on for no reason. She's that person.
Yeah.
And so the tiger actually, like, I feel like this was happening.
There's a mauling scene, and it's really, this movie's really bad with the stuff. We didn't talk about, there's like characters that are on fire and scenes, but like, it's so bad that even if it's a cool effect and it's like, wow, it's shocking that there's a tiger mauling a person, it doesn't really matter when you look at the ground and you can see that they're on pads or on a pile to catch fake blood, or when a person's on fire, you can see the thing that they're going to go jump on to make sure that they go out. It's stuff like that in this movie that it just, every shot looks like shit. Like, it's like, even if it's cool, you can see the ropes, you can see the pulley system, you can see it just looks so cheap. And that's how it is with the car incident. I think we skipped over we skipped over a whole thing where he, I forgot all about it.
But the clown?
He became a clown,
okay.
and it doesn't make any sense to us whatsoever.
I don't even, there's no way to talk about this scene because it makes no sense, just like the rest of the movie. But at one point, he's battling henchmen, and he turns, instead of turning into Kabukiman, he turns into a clown in this ridiculous, oversized, poofy clown suit that he cannot possibly move in. That changes from scene to scene because of the stunt person, obviously.
And that's where the famous car crash happens.
And that's when the famous car crash happens. But, like, there's literally no way to describe the scene. I mean, he's running through a kid's party, and they just happen to ironically be waiting for their entertainer to show up at the party, which is a clown that the mother hired. Yeah. So he's seen running up to this party, and all the henchmen are running after him. They take out their machine guns and start firing into a sea of children. Nobody gets hurt. Not one.
No.
I was like, okay, I'm glad they didn't go there. However, why did you go here?
It's
What is the reasoning?
I know, either go or don't go to it. Yeah.
It was just filler. It was like he had to fill 10 minutes of time.
I guess so, or he thought it was really funny.
But what's funny, it's nonsensical. You don't even explain how he's turning into a clown. So does this mean he can turn into anything he wants to?
I know. Is he that powerful? Is he like Freakazoid? I'm not really understanding it either.
It made no sense.
It doesn't make any sense. That's why I didn't bring it up, because it actually, we were so baffled by it. We didn't know what was happening. And I guess it's one of the big moments, but it's not really. That's why he learns to become Kabuki-man. But the main thing we have to talk about is that during the ritual, it's not supposed to happen. It's not supposed to work, because now that the lion or the tiger or whatever it was ate the girl, that part of the prophecy is done. And now the funniest part is Toyota, he gets into a Jaguar car and starts driving it. And they're like, oh, he is the monkey is driving the
He's riding the Jaguar.
And they're like, stop riding it, Toyota. And she's got to run over and she's got to grab him out of there.
Get out of the car.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's successful enough because the prophecy works, and now the main villain, his overacting gets insane. But what's even better is he goes through an entire metamorphosis.
He looks like a booger.
He turns into like all these different things. He goes into a bug form, and then the bug form becomes this giant monster guy. It goes on for a while, and it is the craziest shit. It comes out of nowhere, and it's pointless. At the very end, the transformation, his final form, is like of a person who has, for hands, 2 heads. One of them seems to be Hitler's head.
It did look like that.
I didn't understand that. And then he has a insect pickle-like penis that's coming out of his pants.
Yeah, that was a little weird. I mean, aside from the whole entire thing being weird, but also I feel like the use of color is always the same palette. Like they must have had some toxic sludge left over from the Toxic Avenger, and so they just used that to turn this guy into like this slimy green thing. Because that's what he looked like. He just looked like a really wet pickle.
Yeah. It's so weird because it comes out of nowhere, and I'm like, oh, this was the plot. He just wanted the prophecy. He wants to become the great evil, and then I wanted to say Toxie, but Griswold can't turn into Kabuki-man in time. Well, he can, because she starts kissing him, and they make out, and he becomes Kabuki. He's got his powers back. Becomes Sergeant Kabuki-man, runs at the bad guy, and you think there's gonna be a giant fight, and they did this prosthetic for a reason? No, they just kind of like grab each other's shoulders for a second, and then there's an explosion. And
I'm like, wait, how?
You think that Griswold died, but then he just like comes out.
But okay, first of all, what was who caused the explosion? What caused the explosion?
I don't really understand. He stopped the transformation to full form and beat the evil one?
Well, so then does that mean that there was like a clash of power, and that's what caused the explosion?
I guess.
Because there's nothing that would have caused that to happen, like at all. They just exploded.
Yeah, they just.
And the wet pickle's dead, but Kabuki-man gets to live, and he's fine.
And he's fine, and he's Sergeant Kabuki-man. He's got his powers. He doesn't lose anything, and he walks off into the sunset with a girl, and the girl's like, so what do you want to do now? Now that you can do anything you want. And they're like, oh, you're... Because I guess he got fired as a cop, but then they reinstated him in the last moment, and they said, you're reinstated, but you're on vacation. Have fun. So stupid. And then he walks off into the sunset with her, and she's like, what do you want to do now? You can do anything you want. And he goes, I think I'm going to go and sit down for a little while. It's like, you think they would say something fun or like something romantic to each other. Not anything. And then it's like the end of the movie. That's it.
It's just so stupid.
Yeah.
Like I'm struggling, but you know what? I got to tell you something. I'm not struggling as much as I did in the last Toxic Avenger.
This was close.
But I didn't struggle as much. I will say that. But can I just say that Oh,
are we doing ours first and then that, or are we going to?
Yeah, I don't think that this movie was as bad as Toxic Avenger 3. I don't think that. So I'm gonna give this a 2.
Yeah. Oh, I did not like this movie very much. I think it had some moments. There was a moment there where I thought this was going to be a lot of fun, and then it died quick. And there wasn't really much to it at all. There's nothing worthy of talking about. That's why we're rushing through the plot and scatterbraining it, because it's not that great, you know?
No, I mean, so you're going to give it a 2 as well?
Yes.
Okay, and that brings us to our segment, Why We Can't Have Nice Things. So this is where I show you the 2 extremes of online reviews and how the internet destroys a movie rating system. So I'm going to say a 1-star review that's on IMDb and then a 10-star review that's on IMDb. So this is the 10-star review, Kabukiman-san. This is by BJ Arrow. Okay. Harry is a clumsy New York cop who one night decides to go to the theater and watch Kabuki. Suddenly, guys with machine guns start shooting at the actors on stage and kills the oldest Kabuki actor. This is the best Troma movie that I have ever seen. Lloyd Kaufman is one of the coolest directors ever. Funny, violent, and silly. It's full of makeup, kimonos, blood, worms, and crazy villains. It also has a funny soundtrack. I saw it on the new DVD release, which has a lot of extra features. If you love Troma movies, you will love this one. I give it a 10 out of 10.
Yes. God.
Now, I shortened
God
this
bless him.
review a smidge because in he just goes on to tell plot.
Yes, he does a synopsis.
Yeah, so that's a 10 out of 10 from user BJ Arrow.
Yeah, that's a harsh reality for that to be a 10.
Yeah.
But like I said, there is a base of people who love the cult movies more than they do the movies that some people call the Academy Award movies, the nominated movies, those art ones.
I get that.
Like there's a group that love that, and there's a place for that. But when you go 10, I mean, I know that this person has seen movies that they like more.
Right.
That's what fucking pisses me off.
Yeah, it makes us annoyed because, like, I mean, you know how to rate a movie. I mean, you take something like that's amazing, like say like Schindler's List, and then you compare it to this movie. I don't understand. Like, what would you give Schindler's List as a rating? You know, like if you're giving this a 10.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I just want to know.
Nobody in a million years ever thought they would hear the words Schindler's List and Sgt Kabukiman in the
just
same
making
sentence.
an example here.
I know.
An example that would definitely you would understand. You know, it's like or Jaws or
that's
you
what
know,
I'm saying.
something amazing.
Something that's a great.
But The Wizard of Oz. It's just. I'm not comparing the 2 movies, but I'm just saying as like a review.
You kind of have to. If you're going to review something, you have to always put the movie that you've seen that is your favorite of all time. This is the thing that you just know is the great. You can't put them in the same category. I've never understood why people do that. It always confused me.
Yeah, I don't understand
I can't wait to hear a 1 because I want to know if this person can sway me.
Okay, well here you go. This is a 1 out of 10, and it's titled Disappointment Man. This is by user Tallwood13. Skip the first hour of this movie. Almost nothing happens. The first Kabuki scene is embarrassing. The clown scene is stretched out and wasn't funny then and isn't now. The main character is so boring and unlikable, like a dollar store version of Kurt Russell. Every line Harry says is like brainless banter in this Yogi Bear sounding voice. I was not expecting a high-budget samurai film at all. I knew what I was getting myself into, as this is the 4th or 6th Troma film I've seen. This was just painful to watch, and I love So Bad They're Good movies. I'm sure millennials today would find reasons to try and get this canceled. It came off as childish with brain-dead humor. I wish it was more violent, and the bad guy was much worse. This story is just awful and poorly executed. It's like in one movie how I said it would be like some little kid mashing toys together in his backyard, improvising as he goes. The actress who did Lotus, not played Lotus, but did Lotus, has good chemistry with Harry and is quite pretty. Not supermodel hot, but she could have been in better movies.
Christ.
There was a weird sex scene with Harry that Tommy Wiseau should have taken tips from. The special effects were good for its time and budget, not Terminator 2 or so around that era good, but better than expected. My big concern is the movie is trying too hard to be silly, not funny, silly. Unlike Toxic Avenger 1, where there is plot and character development, there is none here. You'd have to be on serious drugs to enjoy this.
I mean, I get everything he's saying. I mean, he's touching on some stuff that is very true. I mean, there is some stuff like the sex scene is awkward and is weird, and the jokes don't land, and it's not that funny, and that do kind of connect. There are little bits here and there that kind of work, and there's always almost a touch of something great that is never explored, or there's no, like it's like they had an idea of something funny and something unique, and they just squandered it. So
they got maybe, I would say, 2 or 3 little giggles out of me.
Yeah, and like I said, the actress playing Lotus isn't that bad. She's actually trying, and she's acting like she is in a real movie.
I know. I kind of feel bad for her because she kind of brought it. She did her job.
She did her job better than she ever needed to. I'll say that much.
That's true.
They could have just so easily got that actress from Toxie 2, where
God.
There's drugs in the cocaine, something like that. Just really, really bad. Yeah. So let's move on.
There's drugs in the cocaine.
Oh, is that what I said? What did she say? She said, "Oh, there's drugs. Oh, there's cocaine in the fish." Or
There's cocaine in the fish. There's drugs in the cocaine.
There's drugs in the cocaine.
That's when Scott has reached his. I'm very tired and I don't want to do this anymore.
I always want to do this. Okay. So let's finalize this on the main question here that we always ask. Is this the worst movie ever made?
No.
No. It's close. It's close to being at the bottom. But where would we rank this on the movies that we've done so far? Because we definitely know this is probably in the top 5, right?
Yeah, this movie was bad.
Yeah, since we started doing the list of the worst movies, we both have said this isn't a 1, so it doesn't beat our top 2, which is now Toxie 3.
Yes.
And Mortal Kombat Annihilation. But is this worse than Toxie 2?
Yes.
I think so too.
Yes, it is.
There are some things about Toxie 2 that, even though Toxie 2 is not that good.
No, it's not, but
there
I
are
did
some moments.
have moments in it. So, yeah, it is. Yeah, we're going to.
Because I was going to say, how does every movie get worse since the Christmas tree? And isn't that mind-blowing that the Christmas tree is outlasting these movies?
If you haven't watched or listened to our Christmas tree episode, you have to. And I swear I would not recommend these movies that we're watching. But that one I just feel like has to be seen to be believed.
It's fast, too. It's so quick.
It's like 30 minutes.
It's 40 minutes, and it feels like it goes by in 10. It's just like, what?
Yeah.
Huh?
It's so quick. It's on YouTube, I think.
Yes, it's free on YouTube. And almost all these movies are. The ones that are hitting this bottom, they're all free on YouTube right now. That movie's starting to look better and better every movie we've done recently. So this is crazy. I can't imagine next week.
Okay, please. I
can't imagine next week.
We're just going down in flames here.
In January, we have 3 movies in our top 5 of the worst movies we've seen since we've started doing it already. That's crazy. We have Toxie, or number 3, at number 1 of the worst movies that we've done. And now we have Sgt Kabukiman and Toxie 2 as number 3 and 4. That's crazy.
Oh, God. All right. So here's the thing. I'm going to tell you, I am not going into Toxic Avenger 4 with a good attitude at all. So that's already not a good situation.
Right now, the only hope is I think that James Gunn might have worked on it with him. I'm hoping that is the case. We'll see.
Is that going to change things?
Well, he could have had some influence in making crazier, like he did with Romeo and Juliet. Just making kind of like that old, what people want from these films. Like that 1-star review said no violence, not enough violence and stuff like that. Because the series are kind of known for it, you kind of want it.
Yeah, you expect it.
You expect it. So I'm thinking that this movie might go back to that. But that being said, I think it came out in the later, I don't know if it's the late 90s or the early 2000s. I have no idea. But that could be the make or break there.
Well, okay. I mean, I will say that even though I did really like Toxic Avenger 1, and I'm still very happy that you purchased this DVD box set, But I will say I got ripped off on Amazon for my $3.99 purchase of Sgt Kabukiman. I am highly disappointed.
You didn't even feel it when you got it. You're like, oh yeah, I want this.
You know, because I just have those impulses, and I see something cheap, I'm like, oh, and I've always wanted to see it. So I'm like, all right, let me just buy this. And we've had it like for 2 years or whatever. It's just been sitting there.
It's been sitting there waiting for us. And it's for good reason.
Good reason. Good reason.
All right, guys. We're going to get out of here. Thanks for listening. Next week, we are doing the last one. The last Toxie movie. And God knows. Wish us luck, okay? Just wish us luck. And maybe in February, maybe we'll find something better. Who knows?
I'm telling you, I'm going to need copious amounts of alcohol for the last one. I just need to.
I'm terrified. Yeah,
me too.
Okay, thanks for listening. Hit us on social media at Just Another Movie Night, and on Instagram anyways. And also Joe at The Crafty Misfit on Instagram. We'd love to hear your input. We thank you for listening, and we hope you have a good one. Bye.
But nothing. That's it. The case is closed. This is the part where you leave, Griswold.
Sergeant Griswold, I do not have much time, so I'll be brief. A regrettable twist of fate has chosen you as a recipient of amazing supermortal powers that have been passed down through generations of kabuki actors in my family. Please, consume the banquet of joining in honor of your benefactors.
What?
Eat!
All right, that's it. I am out of here.